Today I'd like to show you how to install one of our new mainspring housings into your GSG or your SIG. You're going to need a couple tools. You need a small hammer, and you need about a 3/32 punch and a rubber band. That comes in real handy. I'll show you why in a minute. So the first thing you need to do is remove this old mainspring housing. There's a pin here in the bottom that holds it in. One side of the pin has an indentation, the other side of the pin is rounded. I like to take my grips and my slide off just so I don't damage anything during this process. You don't have to, but it's a little easier. So with this pin, you want to always push the pin out from the indentation side. You want to push on that side. Some of them will push out, some of them you may have to hammer out, but we'll see how hard this one is. Okay, so that came out. Alright, so next thing you want to do is you want to pull your mainspring housing down about 1/4 inch until your beaver tail grip safety will go in. Alright, because if you have the grip safety or the beaver tail mainspring housing up against your beaver tail grip safety, it won't go in. So you got to pull it down a little bit so it'll go in. Then you want to put your rubber band around there. Alright, and that'll hold that in. Now you need to slide your housing out. Okay, and you'll see inside of here that you have your spring. It's a 3-leaf spring in here. It's your sear spring and your trigger spring, and by putting a rubber band on here, that holds all that in place, so you don't have to worry about it coming out, because it's kind of a pain putting back in if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so the old mainspring housing, you're going to take out the mag safety, which is a little lever and a spring. You're going to take those out and discard them, because you won't be using them in the new housing because it does not accept that. Okay, the next thing you need to do is remove the internals from inside of here. You've got a retaining pin right here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a retaining pin right there that goes inside and holds that cap and spring in. So to get that out, you need to depress the cap and pull the pin out. It's easier if you do it and put it in a vise. If you don't have a vise, you can have somebody hold it for you. It's a little bit tricky to do by yourself. But alright, so we're going to take a punch and push down on that cap a little bit and pop that pin right out. Okay, so now we're going to remove the little pin, and you want to keep that because you're going to reuse it in your new one. And then you have a cap, a spring, and a bottom pin. You got 3 pieces. Doesn't matter which way this spring goes in, so if you get it mixed up, it really doesn't matter. Okay, so you take your new housing, and I would suggest that if you bought one of our housings that have the magwell on it, you might want to install the magwell now and put it all together at once. It's a little bit easier. You don't have to, but I just find it a little bit easier. Okay, so we want to go back together with this. We're going to take our spring, put it over our bottom pin, and slide it in the housing. I'm going to put our cap on, and then we're going to reinsert our retaining pin to hold that inside spring down. So put it back in the vise. Okay. Now we got everything back in there. Make sure that that retaining pin is flush. If you don't, it won't go up in your frame. So now all you got to do is slip it right up in your frame. You'll see that your hammer strut is loose here. Alright. So you want to make sure the hammer is forward, and then you want to slide your mainspring in, and you want that hammer strut to kind of fall out. It has to go into the center of the pin here. You'll see it, but and it'll, once you get it started, it'll go in, but you just kind of let it fall backwards a little bit until you can get it in there. Then you push your housing all the way forward. Alright, and you reinstall your pin. Okay, you take your rubber band off. Then you want to make sure your safety's working. You always check your safeties every time you do something to the gun. You want to pull your hammer back, make sure it's got good spring pressure. You can pull your trigger and it works. Alright, and that's all there is to it.